Bill. You're perfect for it. No one will be able to resist you.
Really think so?
C.S. Lewis meets H.G. Wells meets Father Christmas. That's the Doctor.
Doctor who?
Welcome back to Crawford-Clark Close-Up and our series of Doctor Who retrospectives and reviews since the show was revived for audiences back in 2005. We come now to the special An Adventure in Space and Time. From the pen of Mark Gatiss, who himself has contributed to the main series of Doctor Who in the writing department on a number of occasions, this feature-length special to commemorate the show's 50th anniversary, broadcast in the UK on November the 21st, 2013, 2 days before the show's big 50th anniversary, is more than anything else a lovingly told biopic of the very first Doctor, William Hartnell's family life, as well as his life being changed forever when he is offered the role of the Doctor, a curmudgeonly old man who travels across galaxies in a blue police box with his companions. This special is purely for fans of the show, and Gatiss knows how to push the buttons of the most ardent of those fans. We laugh at the initial conception of the show, we cheer when the Doctor first steps onto the TARDIS set, and we cry as Hartnell realises his time is up. From the main titles of this drama, we're presented with a mock-up of the original Doctor Who titles that leapt onto screens back in November 1963, with the psychedelic patterns on screen drawing you into the kaleidoscopic world of the Doctor. Composer Edmund Butt, most notable for his work on other TV series including Cold Feet and Life on Mars, captures at once the quirkiness of Doctor Who with the pathos of one man on a perilous journey who has to come to the realisation that he can't outlive the creation. We have to talk about David Bradley. For the majority of mainstream audiences, this man is Mr. Filch, the snotty caretaker of Hogwarts School in the Harry Potter series, but here he's transformed into the spitting image of the late, great William Hartnell, capturing the dress code and the mannerisms perfectly. Seeing Bradley step out onto the TARDIS set in the opening scene is a lump-in-the-throat moment for any fan, large or small, of the sci-fi serial, and it looks so authentic in its recreation, including the Doctor's foes, the Daleks, and the Mondasian Cybermen, that we feel as if we're transported back to the 1960s. For the most part, this is a linear drama, taking us chronologically through Hartnell's time, leading up to his casting as the Doctor in 1963, up to 1966, when he has to take his final bow from the show. Painstaking research has clearly gone into all aspects of this drama, into just what discussions happened at the BBC and how Doctor Who found its feet. Brian Cox bursts onto the screen as the larger-than-life head of drama Sidney Newman, the man responsible for changing up the Saturday night schedules in favour of showcasing something for the kids in the sci-fi genre, a genre becoming ever more popular at the time. A placeholder show to fit between Grandstand and Jukebox Jury. Newman's only stipulation? No BEMs, bug-eyed monsters. In light of where we are with the main series of Doctor Who, with the 13th incumbent of the eponymous role being Jodie Whittaker, a woman for the first time in the show's now 55-year history, Verity Lambert, who took the creative reins over the first series of Doctor Who, represented the BBC's first hit of girl power in a testosterone-filled world. Jessica Raine, who had appeared herself in a Series 7 episode of the main show from Matt Smith's era, brings conviction and sincerity to this role, and her chemistry with Bradley's Hartnell seems genuine. You can imagine that they would have had this great chemistry together for real during the making of the show. Verity and the BBC's first Indian director Waris Hussain, the posh wog and the pushy Jewish bird, as they sarcastically refer to themselves at one point, take Bill Hartnell to lunch to discuss the show and how he would be suitable for the parts. If what we're seeing is true and not simply creative license, Hartnell took a great deal of convincing to sign on to the series, as he constantly questions everything he's being told. There are wonderful little Easter egg moments in this dramatisation that demonstrate this has come from a Doctor Who fan, including Hartnell suggesting he appear in the show's main titles, but they quickly veto the idea as the producers test what it would look like behind the scenes, and quickly dismiss it as terrifying. Ironically, this motif would find its way into Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor's episodes from 1967, and become a recurring element until Sylvester McCoy's seventh Doctor in 1989. Verity entices Hartnell with her character description of the Doctor. C.S. Lewis meets H.G. Wells meets Father Christmas, and the rest, as they say, is history. As work begins filming the first series, it's far from plain sailing, however. Hartnell is crusty with his co-workers, frustrated that he has so much technical jargon to spout, with no comprehension of what he's saying, and when they begin rehearsals, he doesn't even have the TARDIS set to stand on. It's incredible to think how such an iconic show had such humble beginnings. Verity entrusts Sidney Newman to come on set and give Hartnell a pep talk, smoothing his ego and convincing him that he's the only person to play this part. Despite filming problems, including flooding on the set, episode 1 of the first Doctor Who story, An Unearthly Child, premieres at 5:15 on Saturday, November the 23rd, 1963. The only unfortunate thing that the BBC couldn't have foreseen at the time is that President John F. Kennedy would be assassinated the day before, and this would dominate the television over the coming days, making it impossible for the Doctor Who debut to find an audience. Newman is ready to shelve the show as he's not happy with the creative direction it's taking, but Verity sticks to her guns, giving an authoritative plea to Sidney to keep the show running because she believes in it. She also demands that the BBC repeat the first episode of the show the following weekend so it can achieve the audience it deserves. God bless you, Verity Lambert. Once the antagonists, the Daleks, make their debut on the show, the audience hits 10 million for Who, unprecedented for any daytime serial on television, and Verity and Warris celebrate. Hartnell realises he's working on something special. There's a prophetic moment when companion Ian Chesterton is on set with Hartnell and tells Bill, "None of us know how long this is going to last. No one's irreplaceable." Before Verity, Warris and Susan, the first Doctor's granddaughter, leave the production, and Hartnell has to start working with new companions and producers. It's a sombre moment of realisation for Hartnell that times change, people move on, and he must adapt to the changes around him. This is juxtaposed nicely by the wonderful moment where he's sitting with wife Heather, played by the wonderful Leslie Manville, in the park, and a band of schoolchildren on a trip come up to him, recognising him as the Doctor from the television, and ask for his autograph. When first hearing of the show, Hartnell turned his nose up at the idea of working on a show for children, but here he relishes playing around with them in the park, acting up as the Doctor, and instructing them all to run back to the TARDIS away from the threatening Daleks. It's a sweet moment that you just hope was a moment in the real Hartnell's life during his time on Who. Hartnell's future on the show is in peril as he develops arteriosclerosis and becomes fatigued and very forgetful of his lines and of character names whilst filming. His wife speaks to the production team about lightening her husband's workload, but Bill knows he doesn't want to let the kids down by having to quit. No Bill Hartnell in Doctor Who, no Doctor Who. Gatiss decides to pull on the heartstrings as Newman calls Hartnell into his office for a meeting and breaks it to him that they want Doctor Who and its success to continue, but not with him. The gleam from Bradley's eyes as Hartnell is extinguished as he returns home a broken man, sobbing and proclaiming, "I don't want to go," a la 10th Doctor David Tennant. It's a hugely emotional moment that has even the hardest of fans getting moist around the eyes. Enter Reece Shearsmith, who would go on to work in Peter Capaldi's Season 9 in 2015 on the main show, as Hartnell's replacement Patrick Troughton, once again capturing the essence of the late actor and his brilliant comic timing superbly. Hartnell's regeneration is about to be filmed, and we get the perfect cameo to end this wonderful labour of love production, chronicling the birth of one of the most popular television serials of all time. Though the entire Who fan base weren't totally content with the 50th anniversary output for the show back in 2013, the fan and critical reception for An Adventure in Space and Time was overwhelmingly positive. David Bradley heads a magnificent cast here in a nuanced drama. Gatiss himself has said that he'd wanted to dramatise this story for a long time. Even though John Pertwee was my Doctor, it was through making-of books and enticing black and white photos that I grew up knowing the legend of Doctor Who's troubled birth pains. This special was originally mooted as an idea back in 2003 to be aired to commemorate the show's 40th anniversary, but as the show had been absent from screens as a full series since 1989, the BBC shelved the project at the time. In 2013, on the eve of the show's historic half-century, it was the perfect thank you to the fans who have embraced the Doctor and his time-travelling adventures over the years. We'll give the final words to Mark Gatiss. Though An Adventure in Space and Time is my love letter to Doctor Who, my hope was always to both celebrate the show and to create a human interest drama that could appeal to anyone. In our opinion, he certainly succeeded. What do you think of An Adventure in Space and Time? Was it the pinnacle of the show's 50th anniversary celebrations? What did you think of David Bradley as the first Doctor? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and please subscribe to Crawford-Clark Close-Up for more. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can also email us with your thoughts on the channel and suggestions for future reviews. It's crawfordclarkcloseup@gmail.com. Keep your eyes peeled for our look back at The Day of the Doctor, the other big 50th anniversary celebratory special coming shortly. Plus, next month we'll be looking back at the Peter Capaldi era of the show. Thanks for watching, and until next time, that's a wrap.